Last time.
To fuse with incredible assault weapon systems beamed down from the space station Skyvault. Becoming man and machine power extreme.
Spider-Man and his amazing friends. Iceman and Firestar.
La 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 la, Smurf the whole day long.
Smurf along with me.
Garfield and friends. Friends are there.
To help you get started, to give you a push on your...
And show the good version of the cartoon intro. So I'm going behind his back and I'm doing it for him.
Come on in, come to the place where fun never ends. Come on in, it's time to party with Garfield and friends.
Rambo.
And now, Picture Wars. Return of the cartoons.
And it looks like it's my turn again. We're going to do this right. We're going G.I. Joe. Screw that. After we've seen frickin' Heat and Rambo, we're going G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe is a personal favorite of mine. And I saw everybody's reaction when I said G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe, a real American hero, ran from 1983 to 1992. At least this series did. There's other iterations beyond that, but this series ran from 83 to 92. Technically, they had 4 seasons, 139 episodes. You had the voice actors of Michael Bell as Duke, Chris Lott as Cobra Commander, Arthur Burkhart as Destro, Neil Ross Shipwreck, BJ Ward Scarlet, Frank Welker was in it, Brian Cummings, William Calloway. So the synopsis is what they're going to say in the intro. So I'm not even going to go over the synopsis because they're just going to talk about it anyway. You're going to hear it twice. So here we go. G.I. Joe, real American hero.
Yo, Joe!
He'll fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there. It's G.I. Joe against Cobra, the enemy, fighting to save the day. He never gives up. He's always there, fighting for freedom over land and air. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there.
G.I. Joe is the code name for America's daring, highly trained Special Mission Force. Its purpose, to defend human freedom against Cobra, a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world.
He never gives up, he'll stay till the fight's won. G.I. Joe will dare. G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe. What can you say about G.I. Joe that can't be said in that intro? It's a thing. It was a phenomenon. It was everywhere. The intro itself, G.I. Joe will be there. They'll fight they're there till the end of the fight, basically. They won't give up. They're fighting Cobra. You see the action. You see a good number of characters. You can tell that it's a constant war going on. And for the 80s, that was kind of like the theme of everything at that point in time was good versus evil. There's a war at some point in time. This literally was a 30-minute commercial for G.I. Joe every day it aired. Anytime that they wanted to introduce anything new, they put it in the commercial. We had the likes of Sergeant Slaughter who made guest appearances. The Refrigerator Perry made guest appearances in the show, and they eventually made a toy out of him that I have. It was action-packed. As a young boy in the 80s, this grabbed my attention. This held me. I wanted to see more. I wanted to see where this was going. I wanted to see the battle. Who are these characters? There's so many colorful characters. For me, this is a top tier A-rated freaking intro, and I absolutely love it. Boomer, Nessa.
Little known fact, G.I. Joe, this intro single-handedly defeated communism. I'm not sure if you knew that. This thing goes fucking hard, and I like it. The art style was pretty cool. The fact that it was basically just a 30-minute commercial, it is what it is. Product placement's always been kind of a thing with cartoons. I think the narration dragged on for a little bit, but that's just me. I think it could have been edited a little bit tighter. Other than that, I voted personally A tier. Ness?
I think the cartoon, like the commercials too, even had some parts of the cartoon, if I remember correctly. like little snippet kind of things to advertise the toys for the commercial. But no, I agree. I agree with you.
Okay, Trog.
Another catchy tune. You always sing it. I mean, there are certain times that this tune just gets in your head and you're singing it. And oh my gosh. And yeah, great way to sell toys. And I think they also had a cereal. I vaguely remember this. But I feel like the intro, it explains things well. You definitely know who the antagonists, who the protagonists are. Very propaganda. Go America. I mean, they never say that, but it's really obvious. And catchy tune, great cartoon style. You know everybody, you know everything, explains everything well. I can't get it. It just makes me a little sick about the Go America. So I have to say it's B, a great intro.
And yes, there was a cartoon serial at one point in time. It was G.I. Joe, the action serial. Knight and Lebuhdez.
That intro went to 11. I didn't even, I must be the only boy in the 1980s who didn't watch G.I. Joe, and that intro still slaps for me. It was great.
If I was voting on my own, I would have given it a little bit lower because the intro was good. The song is amazing. I hate the whole concept of G.I. Joe now, especially, I'm going to get political, but post 9/11, the terrorists attacking America, and America's so great, just brings me back to post 9/11 America, and I hate it. But judging it on its own merits, It was good.
We talked about this, and we were talking about how the theme song is good. The concept of the show, separately, definitely raises issues. But just looking at the theme, looking at the intro, I think I voted A.
It was a product of its time, is really what it ended up being. Absolutely a product of its time. Buttons.
And I feel the holy trinity of the openings, if we could say that the three best of all time, I would say G.I. Joe is in that trinity of the three best. And I think what it really comes down to is, again, it hits like a perfect storm, so to speak. If we're looking at the intro exclusively, it tells a story. Yeah, there's that talking point of it, but I feel like they have to keep talking or else they would not feel like it's an intro. Because if you watch the entire thing, it was an action. They're invading this thing, so they get to the top, and then here it comes where they finally defeat them, and the whole place goes blowing up. I mean, I thought that was really cool. Obviously, the intro is catchy. It's a jingle, and really, this entire show has been carrying the franchise since it. The whole reason why we have adaptations and even the toys are still because of this one adaptation. And I think, we can look at it with a lens of this is the 80s. And yes, I totally agree with what was saying. But again, I still feel like it's a great jingle, great story, and great everything.
Okay, and voting seems to agree with that. This is an amazing intro, and I do not disagree with that one little bit. We're going to throw G.I. Joe up in that A tier right there, and then pass it over to Boomer and Nessa. What do you want me to watch next?
We're going to go with an S tier one and say Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers.
I knew you were going there. And look at the reaction of the panelists. They absolutely are going to love this one. Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. It's just... Yeah, I gotta agree. This one's going to be a good one. Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers came out in 1989 to 1990. It's a latecomer to the 80s cartoons. Ran for 3 seasons, only 65 episodes in 3 seasons. Corey Burton was Dale, Tress MacNeille was Chip and Gadget, Jim Cummings was Monterey Jack, Peter Cullen was in this, Robert Paulson.
His name is Robert Paulson.
Carol Channing was in this. Chip and Dale, 2 chipmunks with the nose for trouble, started a detective agency, the Rescue Rangers, along with their new friends Gadget, Monterey Jack, and Zipper. The pint-sized detectives deal with crimes that are often too small for the police to handle, usually with other animals as their client. Gang frequently finds itself going up against 2 particular arch-villains, Mafia-style Tabby Cat, Fat Cat, and the mad scientist Norton Nimble, both voiced by Jim Cummings. So here we go, going hard. Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers.
Sometimes some crimes go slipping through the cracks, but these 2 gumshoes are picking up the slack. There's no case too big, no case too small. When you need help, just call Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers.
This does not have to go this hard. Boomer, Nessa, your thoughts?
I'll take this one first.
Yeah, I will say this first. So first of all, obviously, this is an amazing intro. And I know we talk about intros being a little bit on the long side, like the ones that are 1 minute, but I feel like this one is okay. Like some of the other ones that are a minute, and you're like, okay, I'm done. But I think you just ride along with this one and you're here for it. It gives you a little bit of some of the snippets from episodes. You know what you're getting into. You know the characters already of Chip and Dale. You meet some of the other
ancillary characters.
Yeah. The additional characters. I think you know what you're getting into. The song is catchy. It sticks in your head. It's an amazing intro for me.
I think that a lot of the biases that I have for cartoon intros, being like the whole show don't tell, having snippets from the actual episodes, all those different biases that I have were because I was spoiled by this one as a kid. Besides being one of the damn catchiest songs in the history of cartoons, this one is, for lack of a better word, shot and edited in such a way that it's a minute long and it feels like it's 20 seconds. It flies by. It tells you everything that you need to know. The art style and framing, I would argue, is damn near perfect. This is a 10 out of 10 intro for me. Very, very few notes.
Okay. Trog.
So I have to say I like this intro. Again, another show that my brother watched. I feel like he watched this and The Secret of Nim like all the time. So it must have had something to do with little small furry creatures. But great music. I feel like that the song was really good in the beginning. And then it got to like the chorus and it was the catchy part. And I was like, oh, okay, yes, this is the part of the song that I remember. And yeah, it gets stuck in your head. I like what I think the cartoon is about based on the intro. I feel it's kind of like a Scooby-Doo style, like solving mysteries or something. A lot of good action, a lot of just solid stuff. There's not that coming towards you on the screen and like no bright flashy lights. And it's definitely 80s. But yeah, it tells you everything you need to know. It's an amazing intro. I voted it an A.
Excellent. Night, Lebuhdez.
Totally A tier intro. I didn't really remember it, but the song is catchy. The animals are adorable. It's fun visually to watch. Yeah.
I mean, what could you possibly vote? An intro that has Tom Selleck and Harrison Ford solving crimes, right? Like, absolutely here for it. A tier, end of story.
Buttons.
I will say that everybody here has basically summed up my thoughts on the show. I will just say two things. I love the intro. Growing up, this was the last intro I would watch before I had to go off to school, because it would literally be the intro will be done, school bus is there, gotta go. And it has a fond place in my memory still to this day. And I like the clips where you get to kind of see overall the things, but hands down, it's great. I put it an A.
May I also ask what our new seventh panelist thinks? Because I would like to meet this seventh panelist and what they think about the intro.
Seventh panel. I see.
Well, we just said too that he must have knew it was on because we just realized he kind of looks like Fat Cat. So apparently he's the villain of Chip and Dale. So he also gives it an A because he's in it.
Dad.
Meow. I can't really. You all said exactly what needed to be said about this. I really have nothing else to say. I voted amazing intro, and that's all that there is. And by the looks of chat, it was almost unanimous. But it's definitely an amazing intro. We're going to slide that one right on up into that A slot and just not think about it anymore. Trog, you're up.
Yeah, so there's still a lot of great cartoons on this list. I'm going to go right for the cartoon that when I saw that it was going to be a cartoon, I was really excited. And then I remember watching the cartoon and being very disappointed. I'm going to go with Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, disappointed. Oh. All right. Dungeons and Dragons. Released in 1983 to 1985. 3 seasons worth 27 episodes. We had Willie Ames as Hank, Adam Rich as Presto, Peter Cullen as Venger, and Frank Welker as Uni/Tiamat. The synopsis: a group of kids are thrown into a fantasy world where they must search for a way home, armed with magic weapons that an evil tyrant wants. It's literally the entire synopsis. So here we go. Dungeons and Dragons.
Hey, look! The Dungeons and Dragons ride! Wow, neat!
Give me a break.
Whoa! What's happening?
Whoa! Where are we?
Look out!
Fear not, Ranger. Barbarian, magician, thief, cavalier, and acrobat.
Who was that?
That was Venger, the force of evil. I am Dungeon Master, your guide in the realm of Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons. Trog, your thoughts?
Yeah, so I guess you gotta be popped into the crazy world dungeon somehow. I always remember sitting in a tavern, but if you're on a roller coaster, okay, that's fine. That's how you get there, right? Which I always thought was weird. It was like, okay, how does this like fair ride get him into Dungeons and Dragons? But whatever. It's an okay intro. Again, I had like high hopes about this cartoon, being a huge nerd, and I just feel like that I was just like, meh. I mean, it's cool. It definitely tells you what's going on, what you're going to see, type of action. The music in the background sounds very like you would hear at a medieval fair, so it all matches. But I don't know. I had such high hopes, and watching the trailer just kind of breaks my heart a little bit. It's good, but it's not great.
Okay, Knight, Lebuhdez?
It's logistically sound, right? It's a sturdy intro, which is to say it does the job of an introduction, right? It tells you who and what. And the music was good, but that's where the good things end for me. It was fine.
I thought it was kind of weird. My favorite part was actually the roller coaster part where they like got transported to the other dimension, because I like that kind of thing. But
It's a good premise.
Yeah.
Also, we haven't voted yet, so we have to kind of figure out what it's okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
Fine.
Buttons.
So I've never seen that before this moment. I've been trying to keep a lot of these like shows I've never seen, kind of like first reaction on that one, and I don't know where to really begin with this. Overwhelmingly negative on my opinions on a lot of it, but like the opening is weird, like really weird. I imagine the guys were like, "Hey, we have this show called Dungeons and Dragons. Where do we start? Yeah, let's have this like place with dragons and like magic and." That's it. Because like it just seemed boring. It was like, here they are transported. Obviously they have to get back. So what attacks them? A dragon, of course. And like as they're running away, this like old man is like, I probably have the power to bring you back, so I'm just gonna give you abilities. And I had to laugh audibly on that one because like they give him like, this guy has a sword. This guy has a bow and arrow. This guy has a club to bludgeon people. Here's this lady. Here you go. You get to become an acrobat.
This is not right. This is not cool. This is fucking bullshit.
I just find that to be kind of comically weird, and this whole thing. I don't know. I really give it a meh. Like I would have, meh.
That's fair. That's fair. Boomer, Nessa?
If I had to describe this one in one word, that word would be.
I didn't hear that word. You keep cutting out. I don't hear that word. Oh, okay.
I'll spell it out. Sighs audibly. As a fan of Dungeons and Dragons, like the actual game, this doesn't really make me feel anything. Like I'm not like visibly cringing, but at the same time, this doesn't make me want to watch it. I thought that like having an explanation of how these people got into this world kind of defeats the purpose. Like you're supposed to basically take on the role of your character, and connecting this to the real world, I thought honestly kind of seems silly to me, if that makes any sense. I don't think everybody's necessarily going to agree with me, but I thought that it was kind of silly. I had to debate whether to put this into C or D, and I was feeling charitable, so I put it into C. Nessa, do you have anything to add?
No, I kind of agree with that. I also agree with everything that Button said. That being said, I will tell you that I would totally ride this ride, like the original roller coaster part of this, and past like some dragons and stuff like this. Like there should be like an amusement park ride.
Yeah, it'd be pretty metal.
Yeah, I would totally ride it too.
Let me ask you this: would you still ride it if you had like a 1% chance of being teleported to a different world and have to survive in that world? Would you still take that ride?
Yes.
Okay.
Ride it 10 times and up your odds.
Definitely.
So I remember the time in which this came out when Dungeons and Dragons was frowned upon and it was seen as the devil's game, and that this was going to lead you to Satan and all of his minions if you played Dungeons and Dragons. So to have a cartoon appear in the 80s with all of that back history that it had to go through in the first place, for me was absolutely amazing. I thought it was like, I never expected something like that to actually make it to air. The premise for it though was pretty
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
You got to suspend a little bit of you have to have a little disbelief here in the fact that they were trying to find a way to grab kids who this was targeted for and pull them into this world. What better way to have a group of kids at an amusement park, which most kids in the 80s were aware of and liked going to, and have the idea of they get sucked into this world in this ride, and now they've got to find a way back. And it dropped you into the middle of Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, you've got Tiamat right there when you first land. Absolutely amazing. Like, you don't expect to see a Tiamat right away. It takes a little bit into the series to figure out exactly what the old guy is there for, and that doesn't convey itself very well in the opener. But I feel like for as much as it could in the time it was created, it gave a good representation of what to expect with Dungeons and Dragons and what this cartoon was going to deliver for you. I gave it a C. It was a good intro. I don't think it's anywhere above that at all whatsoever. And it looks like most of the voting also agrees with the C intro, so we're going to drop Dungeons and Dragons right there in C. And then leave it up to Knight and Lebuhdez. Where do you want to go next?
So Knight was trying to avoid this because he let me choose. One thing that I have noticed while going through this is that, and I vaguely remember this, all the stuff geared towards kids in the 80s was like extremely gendered. So there was like, this is the boys' cartoon, this is the girls' cartoon.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I'm choosing a girls' cartoon, Rainbow Brite.
This is my penance for choosing Garfield and Friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I've talked about this before, but my sister and I had to share a TV when we were watching Saturday morning cartoons. And the deal that my parents had was, you watch your shows, but you also have to sit there and watch her shows, and she has to watch your shows. So I got exposed to a lot of the girl cartoons of the time, and I love all of them. I think they're amazing. Okay, so this is the weird thing about Rainbow Brite, okay? It is indelibly burned into every 80s child's brain. Every kid in the 80s who was anywhere near TV remembers Rainbow Brite. It aired in 1984, had one season. It had 13 episodes. That was it. There were no other episodes, not for the TV series. There were movies, but there were no other episodes. Bettina Bush was Rainbow Brite. Peter Cullen was Murky. Pat Fraley was Lurky. Robbie Lee played a bunch of the sprites. The quick synopsis was the story of a young girl who tries her best to bring beauty and happiness to the earth. She wears a magical belt known as the color belt, which is activated by a handful of star sprinkles to bring forth the power of the rainbow. She's assisted by her faithful talking horse Starlight, the most magnificent horse in the entire universe, and her personal sprite Twink. She lives with the color kids in the wonderful Rainbow Land, but everything is not always peaceful. They occasionally get opposition from Murky Dismal and Lurky from the Gloomy Pits. So this is Rainbow Brite.
See the shining light. It's time gonna take you to Rainbow Brite. Starlight lights right before your eyes, and rainbow colors will cheer you up. Magic lights, come on, take you for a ride. Rainbow Brite, see the shining light. It's time gonna take you to Rainbow Brite. Starlight lights right before your eyes, and rainbow colors will cheer you up.
I apologize about the audio quality right now because that is the best quality that I could find of this. I haven't been able to find a better recording whatsoever. Knight, Lebuhdez, thoughts?
I don't feel like it really tells you what's going on, but I love all the colors. The theme song is catchy. I like that little weird dude. The white fuzzy one? I don't know who he was.
The weird creature thing.
Oh, that was one of the sprites.
Twink.
That was Twink.
Okay. I actually am not sure I watched the show, but I remember all the Rainbow Brite toys. So, yeah, but I would give it like a C or a B, maybe.
Yeah, I could probably agree with that. I found nothing wrong with it. It was fine. Like parts of it, even like y'all might have seen me like popping to it. So yeah, maybe like a C or a B.
Buttons?
I see why I didn't get a second season, because that intro really was, I don't know, I just felt like the visuals were like really intense, and like especially with like the stalagmites crumbling, and then you see like this wizard sending something at somebody. I'm like, it really goes like on a really like hard aspect. I shouldn't be saying hard all the time, but I cannot say a word better than that. It really does like do things well, and I thought it was good, kind of catchy. This was a show that my siblings liked, and so I remember Twink and a few of the other people being in my hand-me-downs that I had growing up. But ultimately, I thought it's a good intro.
Okay, Boomer, Nessa.
I think it's a good intro. I think it might be a little bit on the long side and a little bit repetitive, but it does draw you in with the colors, does have a catchy vibe to it. I just think it was a little bit too long. And I love Rainbow Brite growing up as far as like the toys. And, I watched the cartoon a little bit. As a matter of fact, I have a Rainbow Brite and Twink Funko Pop, but I think it was a little bit too long. It was a good intro. It could have been better though.
Honestly, I wasn't expecting to be as intrigued by the end of that as I was. I kind of want to watch it now and figure out what the hell is going on here. I was kind of torn between B and C, and we kind of compromised on B. Or sorry, we compromised on C. Obviously, we didn't on B since nobody voted for that. It was so off the wall and weird, and for whatever reason, I loved it.
That's fair. Trog?
Wow, so I don't think that I ever saw this. It definitely wasn't on in our house. Another cartoon to sell toys. I definitely remember the toys. I remember people having the toys. I didn't have the toys. Very catchy theme song to the intro. And like was said, very targeted to girls. Very happy, very colorful. Everybody's riding horses. Every girl wants a horse, right? So I feel like it was yes, very targeted. Definitely gave you a sense as to what's going on. Things are going to be happy, though I guess that's all it's going to be. Maybe. I don't know if there was any. Yeah, it's a good intro. It's catchy. It's eye appealing.
Okay, I said that this could be better. I felt like Nessa, it went on a little bit longer than it should have. They could have probably ended it before that last refrain in the song had occurred, and I would have been happy with that. I like the fact that it's colorful. It does show you all the characters. However, it gives no indication whatsoever, if I wouldn't have read the synopsis, of what is going on in any of that space. It's all clips from the different episodes that they had produced at the time, thrown together for an intro. And actually, they ended up shortening the intro later on in like episode 5 or 6 to being just the part where the rainbow appears and Rainbow Brite appears up behind it, and that's all the intro ends up being. So it's not, I definitely felt like it could have been better, but yeah, it doesn't really cover like what the cartoon is. It's intriguing enough though to probably get you to watch it, but for me, I really feel like it could have been better. However, voting says that this is a good intro, which I can't deny. Buttons, what's up? Where are we going?
Let's go for my namesake. It's Punky Brewster.
Oh God. Oh, I didn't actually think this was going to be touched. It's Punky Brewster. Was produced 1985 to 1986, 2 seasons, 43 episodes. This is one of the few times where a lot of the voice actors were the people from the TV show. There was a TV show, live action. Soleil Moon Frye, Sherry Johnson, Frank Welker, Amy Foster, George Gaines, Casey Ellison, Neil Ross, all voice actors within this. Based on the live-action hit of 1984, this animated version follows the adventures of Punky and her magical friend Gloomer, who came from the world at the end of the rainbow. Gloomer can transport Punky and her friends to any part of the earth in the blink of an eye. And Punky was voiced by the original actress Soleil Moon Frye. The animated version of the series came a year after the live-action counterpart. So it's Punky Brewster.
here with me. I'm not Punky Brewster. Now no one's gonna understand. Punky Brewster. Together we're the best of friends. Punky Brewster. I always want you here with me.
There you go, Buttons. It's Punky Brewster. What are your thoughts?
I swear I try not to pick the openings that have skiing in them, but you know, the 2 times I did, they both have skiing. So I'm sorry, everybody. I don't know really what to say on this one. It is, it's a lot, and I'm not saying it's a lot in a bad way. It's just like like Chat was saying this, the voice was kind of on the annoying side of it. I get like kind of like, I don't even know really what to just say on this one. I just say it was fine. I wasn't like impressed by it. I wasn't disappointed by it. I was just kind of in the middle. Overall, it was a fine.
Okay, Boomer, Nessa.
That is a really long intro. It was over a minute. And I have lots of issues with that. And I think it's repetitive. I didn't care for it that much. Like the music, like the background music to it was good. But the words, like the repetitive part of Punky Brewster reminds me of the same conversation we had about Gem. It's Gem. We got it. It's Punky Brewster. We got it.
She's truly amazing.
Yeah. So it could have been way shorter. We said it could have been better, but I also think, again, the length of it, I don't know. I feel like this is a show that just didn't need to be a cartoon. And the show was engaging enough that you didn't need to make it a cartoon. And I think that's kind of why it could be better. It could be a lot better. Or not at all. Maybe don't make it exist.
The title says Punky Brewster, but the content says Gloomer. Like Punky was just kind of, there. And honestly,
she was a sidekick.
Yeah, she was a sidekick in her own show, which is usually not a good call. We voted D for this one, and I think that's fair.
Can I ask, because I've never seen the show, never seen the opening. Just picked it because it had Brewster in it. Was the rodent not the main character?
No. Actually, Gloomer never appeared in anywhere else but the cartoon. It did not appear in the live action TV show at all.
That raises a whole nother set of issues here.
Trog, what did you think?
I think this is an interesting transition from Rainbow Brite to this one that also at the very beginning had a rainbow. I'm not sure why there was a rainbow Punky Brewster. Yeah, I watched the show. Maybe if I was of a certain age when this cartoon came out, I would have been interested, but I had watched the show. Yeah, there was no furry creature in the show, but I thought that the furry creature was kind of interesting. Oh, Punky Brewster has this furry creature and it can clean her room. That's pretty awesome. So maybe that would have appealed to me. I agree. This was very long. Didn't really go into what was going on. What was the cartoon about? I have no idea other than Punky Brewster, right? And there was a show. Why did this need to be made? I have no idea. They weren't trying to sell anything. It could definitely be better.
Night. Lebuhdez.
I died inside, right? Like when I said in the chat that voice, that singing was a war crime, I was underselling it. This was a matter of some debate with the microphone off. I wanted to invent a new category F, which was something below meh, because I just disassociated what's in my happy place. Thank you, Boomer. That's perfect. But in the end, actually, we were the C vote because Lebuhdez had more positive things to say than I did.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. It was weird, but I liked it. Yes, path to Lisa Frank. Yeah, exactly. Very Lisa Frankie. Loved Lisa Frank. I definitely, when I was a kid, would have wanted a magical creature that could clean up my room after me. And I don't know, it looked fun. I don't remember watching it, but it looks fun.
I will also say logistically, I agree with everybody else who said that intro was way too long. Like it was just
it was
again bad.
Yeah, I voted that this could be better as well. Full stop on this though. I had a huge crush on Punky Brewster when I was younger because we were about the same age. So watching the TV show when it came out, I mean, Soleil Moon Frye, I had a huge crush between her and Drew Barrymore. I was done. So I did watch the cartoon when it came out because I was very interested in seeing more of this character that I had, certain weird feelings for. But that being said, the intro does not convey anything at all. It is too long. It's 1 minute and 16 seconds. It's way too long for an intro to be. And the fact that it more focuses on Gloomer than it does on Punky or any of her friends, it was the wrong direction to take for it, I think. And that's why there's only 1 season. That's why, 2 seasons. How it got 43 episodes, I think, was solely on the fact of Soleil Moonfry and her stardom at the time with the TV show. So, but I said that as well, that it could be much better. And it looks like that the voting as well landed in that spot where it could be much better. So we're just gonna go ahead and drop Punky in there. It's a shame, but it's what it is. Let's see here. Oh, it's my turn. All right, I'm gonna grab the one that we all thought we did already and haven't done, which is the Gummi Bears. Yes. Ran from 1985 to 1991, 6th season, 95 episodes. Paul Winchell was Zummy. Corey Burton was Gruffy, June Foray, Grammy, Lorenzo Music was Tummy, Katie Lee was Sunny, Noel North was Cubby. Do you see a pattern here? Michael Ray was Duke Igthorn, or Dookie, and King Gregor. Long ago, there thrived a civilization of small humanoid bears called the Gummi Bears. Possessing powerful magic and advanced technology, the race coexisted with humans until the growing rivalry forced the Gummies to flee across the sea. I don't know what sea, but they fled across it. However, generations passed and the colony forgot their purpose, even as human knowledge of the race faded into mere legend. All that changed when the colony meets a boy with a Gummi Bear medallion, which unlocks the Great Book of Gummi. And that's pretty much all we're really going to dive down into the synopsis. So here we are, the Gummi Bears.
Dashing and daring, courageous and caring, faithful and friendly, with stories to share. All through the forest they sing out in chorus, marching along as their song fills the air. Gummi Bears, bouncing here and there and everywhere. High adventure that's beyond compare. They are the Gummi Bears. Magic and mystery are part of their history, along with the secret of gummy berry juice. Their legend is growing, they take pride in knowing they'll fight for what's right in whatever they do. Gummy Bears, bouncing here and there and everywhere. High adventure that's beyond compare. They are the Gummi Bears. They are the Gummi Bears.
If you're not singing that, there's something seriously wrong with you. So I really like this one. It's not too long. It very quickly, for a child, gives you a sense of exactly what you're going to be getting into. There's a lot of action. It doesn't need to introduce the characters by name, but it introduces what they are and what they do. You see that there's conflict. I mean, I don't know. I think this is just one of those intros that put everything into the perfect storm and delivered an absolute amazing intro. That's where my vote's going. You can fight me on this. Boomer, Nessa?
11 out of 10. No notes.
Agreed.
Not a race, guys.
Trog!
Wow, I don't even know what to say. Like, why? Why is the Gummi Bears a thing? They're a candy. Why is it a cartoon? And then they're not even gummy in the cartoon. They're like bears. They're like poo and stuff.
What do you mean by that?
It's like,
whoa.
I was not singing along. I have never seen this. Okay, it has it's Disney, so it has the Disney animation style. That's great. I mean, I guess these bears are having adventures in like medieval times or something. I'm not really sure. It was really long to me. Yeah, I guess I'm fighting you, Virgil, because I'm like, I don't understand. And my poll is broken, so all of mine say an amazing intro. I'm
Oh, Slam! What is going on there? That's not right! Slam!
I love that.
Oh.
Rigged!
Slam for president.
Rigged!
Yeah,
Rigged.
I mean, it's good, but I can't say that it's amazing. Sorry,
Exactly.
I just never seen it. Don't know anything about it. Just seemed a little weird and long.
With absolute power comes absolute power. Night, Lebuhdez.
Yeah, we loved it. It
I
was
was
great.
saying,
We were bopping around.
11 out of 10. No notes. I just want to point out that this is the opposite of many intros for me, where the show is so iconic that we want to upvote the intro. I don't remember much of the show itself from my childhood, but I remember this intro just absolutely smashing it. Like this is iconic. 11 out of 10.
Buttons.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Everything down to the last minute details.
The whole thing, like just the music, where it was pretty jingle. I forgot about this 100%. It's like it was buried in my subconscious, and when that note first dropped, I was like, childhood memories, nice. I love it. The music is fantastic. The animation, I like the whole kind of storytelling. I'm getting kind of like a little bit of like a Lord of the Rings, kind of like that, like drawn Lord of the Rings kind of vibe from it, and I liked it. And I'm ultimately kind of having to give it like an amazing intro. Just good. All around good.
It's either an amazing intro, an amazing intro, an amazing intro, an amazing intro, or an amazing intro. So this looks like it's overwhelmingly going to end up as an amazing intro.
Well, no shit.
And so yeah, we're going to put this right up here in this top slot, right there.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Mask, where illusion is the ultimate weapon.
Convert Switchblade to jet mode. Surprise, Mac Tracker. It's mayhem. Battle station. Protect the decoder, Bruce. I'm going up. Stacks ready to fire.
Mask, Switchblade, Thunderhawk, and Rhino.
Fire!
Each sold separately with action figure.
Cover me, Matt. 10-4. Sato's getting away. But you're not, Mayhem.
Mask, Switchblade, Thunderhawk, and Rhino. Each sold separately. New from Kenner.